This is the world's first video game. It was made back in 1958 in October by a physicist named William Higginbotham. It was simple tennis for two video games. Then came the next generation, which was around 80s. It was Magnavox Odyssey and a Pong Time. So these were some 2-bit video games that happened. Then around 1992, Fairchild Channel F came in. It was again a 2-bit with some colors video game was there, and that have very casual feel to it. Pixelated graphics and everything, just 1 or 2 button control and you're good to go. Then it was the third generation of video games. That was the time when Sega came in. It was Sega Master System and Nintendo Entertainment System. So these games have some storyline to it. They have a good feel, a little bit of pixelated graphics, but all around 2D platform. Most of them were platform games like Sonic and Mega Man, which was full of colors, and it has some awesome music and storyline. We have Ninja Turtles, which is one of our favorites. A lot of cool mechanics have been introduced in the system, like jumping, as well as a lot of different variations in fighting style, like kicking, using swords, and there was the Batman as well, which was for Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And one of our favorite, Mario, how can you forget that? It was a very revolutionizing game. It had a lot of stories and a lot of mechanics to it. He can swim, he can fight, he can do a lot of stuff. And after 1985, around 2000, it was the time for 3D to come in the industry. So we had Super Nintendo, and there was Donkey Kong, Metroid. They all games were based on 3D environment. And this is when the Zelda first came into the world. It have a lot of storyline, a lot of cool mechanics, and mainly the dialogue system. And one of our favorites again got an evolution, which was Mario. And this was fabulous looking. A lot of more games came in, like Mortal Kombat during that time for Super Nintendo. So we are stepping into the future now. So it's time around 2006 when we stepped on Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64. It was Final Fantasy VII, where the graphics are introduced as 3D, but they were pretty low poly. Everything have a lot of edges and you can clearly see them. The texture did not have normal maps. It was plain colors and the graphics were kind of pixelated. It took 5 to 6 years from PlayStation 1 to going to PlayStation 2. Now, that was the time when God of War 1 and 2 came in. It was the time when Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo GameCube and Microsoft Xbox is also introduced in the world. So it was the time when we got introduction of using normal maps in the games. So for textures to look better and to have depth, we use normal maps. And we have a lot of more subdivisions, or you can say some more polygons to the models. Also, the story and gameplay mechanics have become so complex that it was hard to match. Within 10 years, it was so crazy. Around 2005 to 2017, it was a long time, we got PlayStation 3, Nintendo Wii and Microsoft Xbox 360. The graphic took a huge turn in a positive manner. So the lighting is drastically amazing in Forza. We got Modern Warfare 2. It have a lot of sceneries, a lot of debris, a lot of complicated gameplay mechanics, a lot of explosions. Everything came in the system. So the storyline is also amazing. Artists were using real guns to create 3D guns. That means the models are exactly same as real gun and they behave exactly in the same way. The NPCs were evolving and complex AI mechanics have been used for them to create their behavior. Games like Uncharted, now it might not look great, but that time have changed. They were a great hit visually as well. A lot of cool complex mechanics have been introduced in the game as well. Complex environments and focus was to give realistic feel to the gameplay as well as for the character. After 2012, we got PlayStation 4, Nintendo Wii, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, and a boom in gaming industry. Now the focus was to maintain the polygons of all around to be rounded. The edges should be round. It should not be jagged like we used to have, especially for the characters. And for environment as well, there are a lot of silhouette change, a lot of silhouette break is there. We are not only relying on normal maps now, we are also relying on the surfaces, surface breakdowns and the variations as well. We have a lot of materials on one character as well. The body can be different, the suit can be different, and yes, you cannot see the edges now for the models. It's hard to see anyways. We've got Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and other games like God of War, Red Dead Redemption. This time around, single player games are still way ahead of multiplayer games because of some of the constraints that we have for multiplayer games. Since it's online, it cannot have that much polygon or graphic intense than the single player games because of those bandwidth difference.
This is crazy tech. Hate to do this, but
the companies have been using mostly the motion capture data for animation or suits for animation, live actions, and cinematic trailers for the promotion as well. So it was the time when we got introduced to RTX, which supports bounce lighting, and the environments were mostly made due to interactivity. You can interact with the environment in most of the games. RTX brings in the huge change in the industry. Using RTX, you can simulate realistic looking lights in your environment and in your gameplay. Like this, what we are seeing right now, it's Ghosts of Tsushima, which is one of the best looking games in the industry right now. Even if it's for PS4, it was still a great game. If you see visually, fighting style and everything in the game is very different. So game companies were focusing mostly to create unique looking games. But now so the games have a lot of drama to it, a lot of storytelling. If you look at this scene, it shows the wind, and they were using different parameters like noise to animate the vegetation, which is a cool technique. A lot of NPCs with great AI behavior is already there, and the fighting style is very unique. Cloth simulations, lighting, vegetation, all around, the mud, water, everything, if you combine, it looks sweet and it brings in a lot of changes as well. And now comes the final generation, 9th, which is present. Around 2020, we got Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, which were game changing, which supported RTX. And I cannot say about character polygon, they were in millions right now. The hair simulation, the cloth simulation, all are going so perfect. The lighting, rendering have become so improved that it's hard to even compare with the older generations. The PS3 is history now. This is Horizon Forbidden West. Just look at the details in the environment and the characters that she's interacting with. The fight is also very intense. The guns are good, and the overall concept for the game is lovely. This is Tekken 8. We have seen Tekken 3, which was released back in 1997. If you compare it from there, it have come a long way. Now the characters are using multiple materials in 4K resolution texture maps. They have different kind of materials and shader properties like sheen, metallic, and different roughness variations for that. The clothes and everything have more details embroidery as well. This is Resident Evil 4, which we have already seen for PlayStation 2. Now it's for PlayStation 5 and it is the remake. If you watch closely, you can see the direction character have to go. The moon lighting is amazing. Usually the dark lighting is not that good. They are all blue. Here it's so natural, it's so contrasting that you can differentiate the night from the day. Also, using RTX, the bounce lights gives you the characteristic for creating realistic looking environments. There are a lot of memories and a lot of people are attached with this game, me, myself including. This is one of my favorite games. It have a lot of cool mechanic it used to have as well. If you see it in PlayStation 2, it's already revolutionizing. Now it's even more. It's even greater. The characters and environment look so surreal. And this is where we are standing right now. This is going to release in 2024. This was the era of remake and we might see a lot of remakes in future as well. Companies have to go back to the requests of their fans and listen to them and create the older games in a new style with the new lighting system, new characters, new environment, and overall new gameplay mechanics. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.